Mark pushed the mop slowly across the shiny floor, his back hurting and his hands rough from cleaning chemicals. The alien company tower, 50 stories high, was silent now. All the alien workers had gone home. Only a few security bots floated by every hour. Mark liked the quiet. He didn't talk much. He just cleaned and left. Most aliens didn't even notice him. To them, he was invisible. Just a human janitor mopping floors, but Mark didn't mind. His daughter Lily was all he cared about. She was sick, born with a weak heart. Alien doctors said they could help, but the treatments cost more than he could afford. So he worked here. Nights. Alone. Saving every coin. Tonight was different. As he cleaned near the executive hallway, he heard voices. Strange ones. Alien dialect, sharp, fast, layered. It wasn't Earth's official alien language. No, this was older. Hidden. He moved closer, quietly. Two tall alien executives stood in front of a holomap. Their skin shimmered like silver smoke. Their words flowed in a dialect not spoken on Earth in decades. Mark froze. He understood every word. They were talking about a plan. Secret shipments. Unmarked containers. Moving something dangerous through Earth without the humans knowing. It was bold, risky, illegal. One of them said, "If this works, the humans won't even know they've been used." Mark's grip on the mop tightened. He shouldn't say anything. He should turn around. Walk away, but instead in a low, calm voice he said, "You're using the wrong route. Sector Delta 4 is being watched." The two aliens froze. They turned, eyes wide, staring at the janitor standing at the end of the hall. One of them hissed, "You speak our language?" Mark stared back. "I understand more than you think," he said. Alarms didn't ring. Guns didn't fire. But something even heavier filled the air, shock. The taller alien executive took a slow step forward. "No human alive should know the old tongue," he said. "Where did you learn it?" Mark didn't answer. He turned away and pushed his mop into the bucket. "I have work to finish," he said, and walked down the hallway. Behind him, the alien stood still, speechless. Later that night, in the security control room, cameras showed the janitor returning to his small closet-sized storage room. He folded his jacket, locked his cleaning tools, and left the building. The alien executive rewound the footage 5 times. Staring, watching. "Find out who he is," the alien said to the bot beside him. "Now." Outside, Mark walked fast through the quiet city streets. Neon signs blinked above him in alien symbols. Drones flew past. He kept his head down. He didn't want this. He didn't want attention, but he had made a mistake. A big one. He had opened his mouth. He knew that dialect because he had helped create the first human-alien dictionary. Years ago, before the war ended, before Earth signed peace, before he lost his wife, he had promised himself he would never speak alien tongues again. But something about those two executives, the way they talked, it felt wrong, dangerous, like the early signs of a silent invasion. Mark reached the tiny apartment he rented above a ramen shop. Inside, his daughter was sleeping, wrapped in warm blankets, oxygen mask gently hissing. He kissed her forehead and sat by her side. He looked at her pale face. "So fragile, so small. I won't let anything happen to you," he whispered. Then slowly he opened a hidden panel in the wall behind the dresser. Inside, old files, metal chips, and a broken alien translator device sat covered in dust. He stared at them. Old memories. Old pain. And now, maybe, an old war coming back. His hand shook as he picked up the broken translator. "They're planning something," he whispered to himself, "and I might be the only one who understands it." In that moment, the janitor was gone. The man who once stood before generals and alien diplomats had just woken up. Morning sunlight slipped through the cracked window of the small apartment. Mark sat by his daughter's bed, feeding her warm soup with slow hands. Lily smiled weakly, her tiny alien-made oxygen mask fogging with each breath. "Daddy," she whispered, "did you work late again?" He smiled softly. "Yeah, but I'm home now." Her eyes, bright and curious, made his chest ache. She didn't know the truth. She didn't know that her father, the quiet janitor everyone ignored, used to be one of the most important humans in the galaxy. Years ago, before the war ended, he wasn't mopping floors. He was decoding alien messages, translating peace offers, and saving entire colonies from destruction. Back then, they called him Dr. Mark Elian, chief xenolinguist of the United Earth Federation. He had spoken in the halls of alien kings, decoded war cries into peace treaties, and even taught alien diplomats how to speak English. Then the war ended, and his wife died during the last bombing. That night changed him forever. He left everything. He buried his name. He stopped talking, and he took his baby daughter far away from politics, away from the humans and aliens who only saw him as a tool. Now all he wanted was a simple life, to mop floors, stay invisible, and make enough money to keep Lily alive. But last night had changed everything. He had spoken the old alien dialect again, and someone had heard him. At the corporate tower, the alien executives were still in shock. The tall one named Director Renar had spent the whole night digging into Mark's file. Human, age 37, no higher education listed, works night shift. No family mentioned. Renar frowned. Impossible. He speaks the old tongue like a native. Beside him, the silver-skinned scientist Varel adjusted her lenses. Maybe he learned it from recordings. Renar turned toward her sharply. The old tongue hasn't been spoken aloud in a century. It was erased from archives after the First War. No recordings exist. Then how does a janitor speak it? She asked. Renar's eyes glowed faintly blue. That's what I want to find out. He sent out a silent command. Within minutes, a pair of sleek security drones left the tower, tracking the janitor's ID chip. Mark felt the presence before he saw it. He was on his way to work again that evening, moving through the crowded market streets when a soft humming sound passed above him. Drones. He looked up briefly, pretending not to notice. They were scanning the area, searching. He walked faster, turning into a narrow alley, then ducked behind a trash bin. He reached under his collar and pulled out the small chip that marked him as a corporate worker. He crushed it between his fingers. Not today, he muttered. He took a deep breath, calming his racing heart. He couldn't let them find Lily. Not her. He arrived at the tower through the back service entrance. Everything looked normal, but he could feel eyes watching. Inside, the night was quiet again. He began mopping as usual, keeping his pace steady, pretending not to care. But his ears were sharp, catching the faint metallic clicks from the ceiling vents. Surveillance mics. He stopped near the executive corridor, the same place where it had happened. This time, someone was waiting. Varel. The alien scientist stood with arms folded, her silver hair glowing faintly under the neon lights. You, she said softly. The human who spoke our language. Mark's eyes narrowed. I already told your boss. It was nothing, she tilted her head. No human can pronounce the 8th tone of the old tongue perfectly. You did. You even used a phrase that hasn't been heard since the surrender treaty. Mark didn't reply. He just kept mopping. Varel stepped closer. Who are you, really? He looked up at her, his expression calm but tired. Someone who used to matter. Someone who doesn't anymore. The alien studied his face for a moment, then sighed. If that's true, then why did you warn us last night? You could have stayed silent, Mark hesitated. Then he said quietly, because I've seen what happens when people keep secrets like that. It always ends with someone getting hurt. Virel's eyes softened. For a second, she saw something in him. Loss, pain, and a kind of strength she hadn't seen even in warriors. I don't think you're a janitor, she said. I think you're hiding from something. Mark gave a faint smile. You're not wrong. Before she could reply, her wristband buzzed. A message from Renar. Bring him to my office now. She looked at Mark. They want to talk to you. He nodded slowly. Then let's go. As they walked through the gleaming corridors, alien workers turned to stare. The janitor walking beside an executive scientist, what was going on. When they reached the elevator, Varel noticed Mark's hands. Calm. Steady. Like a soldier's. You've done this before, she said quietly. He looked at her, one corner of his mouth lifting. Once or twice, the elevator doors opened. The alien guard stepped aside. The air was cold, heavy with silence. Somewhere deep inside, the man who once spoke to alien kings woke up again. Mark Elian, the forgotten linguist, the single father, the janitor with a secret, was about to face his past. And this time, the galaxy was watching. Mark stood quietly inside the high-speed elevator as it zoomed upward through the alien tower. Beside him, Virel, the silver-skinned alien scientist, watched him with curiosity, but also with caution. He still wore his janitor uniform. His hands were stained from cleaning, but his eyes held the calm of someone who had seen more than most generals. The elevator stopped with a soft hum. 2 tall alien guards in armor waited at the top floor. They scanned Mark without a word. The doors opened into a massive glass office that looked over the city's glowing skyline. Inside stood Director Renar, the powerful alien executive who controlled almost everything on this side of Earth. Mark walked in without fear. His boots echoed on the smooth black floor. He stopped in front of Renar and waited. The alien didn't speak for a moment. He simply studied Mark's face, as if trying to peel off his skin and see the truth beneath. "You were cleaning floors 2 nights ago," Renar finally said. "When you spoke a language no human has used in over 80 years. Mark didn't answer. "You knew the secret route our smugglers were using," Renar continued. "You warned us it was being watched." "Why?" Mark looked him in the eye. "Because your smugglers were going to start something dangerous, and Earth doesn't need another war." Renar's expression didn't change, but his tone became sharp. "You were once important." Mark said nothing. "You are Dr. Mark Elian, aren't you? Former lead translator for the United Earth Federation. You disappeared during the peace years, changed your ID, became a janitor." Virel blinked in surprise. She hadn't known that part. Mark finally spoke. "I had my reasons." Renar folded his hands. "You could have stayed hidden, but you spoke. Now your face is on every watch list in this building." Mark gave a tired smile. "Then why am I still alive?" Renar paused, then laughed. A strange, deep alien laugh that echoed like thunder. "Because we need you," he said. "And maybe you need us." Renar walked over to a glowing map display. Holograms of trade routes, planets, and alien sectors floated in the air. He pointed to a blinking red zone near Earth's orbit. "Something is coming. A rebel fleet. Not from my people, but from another faction. Old enemies. They don't want peace. They want to burn Earth and take its resources." Mark frowned. "And you just discovered this now?" Renar nodded. "Their code is unlike anything we've seen. Our translators can't read it." He looked at Mark. "But you can." Mark's hands clenched slightly. "I gave up that life. I don't want it back." Renar stepped forward, lowering his voice. "Your daughter, Lily, she's sick, yes?" Mark froze. "She needs medicine only we can make. Rare medicine, expensive." Renar smiled coldly. "Work with us. Help us break the code. Help us stop the fleet. And we'll give her everything she needs." Mark stared at him. His heart pounded. Was this a deal with the devil, or the only path forward? He looked at Virel. She didn't look evil. She looked hopeful. "I won't be your spy," Mark said slowly. "And I won't be your weapon." Renar nodded. "Agreed. You'll work with Virel as a translator. Nothing more." Later that night, Mark sat in a private lab room. Clean, bright, full of alien tech. A screen displayed symbols, twisting, broken alien code from the rebel fleet. He stared at it. Then, slowly he began to read aloud. Virel watched in amazement. "You're decoding it already?" Mark didn't reply. He was deep in focus. His voice whispered forgotten phrases, ancient words, words that made machines freeze and alarms buzz. Suddenly the screen flashed. A message unlocked. "Operation Sky Ash begins in 9 days." Mark sat back, breathing heavy. "They're coming fast," he said. "Too fast," Virel swallowed hard. "Then we need to stop them faster." But deep in the shadows of the alien tower, another figure watched the feed. A spy, a traitor, someone who didn't want peace. He saw Mark, heard his voice, and sent a silent message across space. "He's back. Kill him before he speaks again." Mark sat alone in the translator lab, the room cold and humming with quiet machines. Strange symbols floated across the screen, codes from the rebel fleet's secret transmissions. Each line he decoded felt like digging up an old grave. Words he had buried years ago were now back in his mouth. He didn't want this life, but Lily's medicine, he had no choice. The room's door slid open with a hiss. Virel entered, holding 2 steaming cups of something warm. "You've been here for 6 hours," she said, handing him a cup. "Drink this." Mark took it without looking up. "Thanks. You translated the word sky ash. That means a massive orbital strike, right? Yes, Mark said. They'll burn Earth's satellites first, blind our defenses, then move in. Varel sat beside him. We need to find their entry point. Where are they hiding now? Mark stared at the blinking coordinates. His mind worked fast. Symbols, grammar, patterns. He remembered the way the rebels spoke during the war. Their code always carried emotion. Rage, pride, revenge. Suddenly a file opened. Coordinates, hidden behind layered dialects. He leaned in. They're coming through the frozen rings of Saturn, shielded by debris. Varel's eyes widened. That's only 5 days away from Earth at full warp. Mark stood up. Then we have less time than we thought. Hours later, Mark returned to the janitor closet he used as his changing room. He opened the hidden wall panel again. Inside were old tools, chips, and a burned-out translator core from the war days. He took it out, connected it to a small alien tablet, and booted it up. He wasn't supposed to have this tech, but long ago he'd learned not to trust anyone with his safety. He tapped in a command and saw something strange. His own name, repeated, listed, flagged in red. Mark Elian. Active surveillance. Level 3 threat, he frowned. Why was he being watched by Raynar's own system? He dove deeper, bypassing security. His fingers moved fast, typing both English and alien symbols. Hidden beneath Raynar's system logs was something worse. Shipment routes. Smuggled tech, hidden weapons, not rebel data. Raynar's data. He was running illegal ops while pretending to be Earth's ally. And Mark had just helped him decrypt rebel codes, giving him access to everything. Mark's chest tightened. He had trusted the wrong person. Again. He quickly copied the data and sent an encrypted alert to a hidden backup account he created long ago, for emergencies only. Then he shut everything down. That night, Mark returned home. Lily was asleep. The room smelled like warm food and medicine, but something was wrong. The window was open. Mark's eyes darted around. Quietly, he pulled a small blade from his shoe. He walked toward Lily's room. Nothing. Then, movement. A dark shape leapt from the shadows. Mark grabbed the figure and slammed them into the wall. A hood fell back. It wasn't a full-grown alien, it was a young alien thief, shaking and terrified. Please, I was just sent to watch. The boy gasped. They said not to hurt anyone. Who sent you? Mark growled. The boy shook. Raynar's men, they said, you might betray them. Mark let go, heart pounding. He had made a mistake, a huge one. Now they were watching his home, his daughter. Next morning, Mark didn't go to the tower. He went to the underground network of old war veterans, humans and friendly aliens who had disappeared after the peace treaty. In a broken subway tunnel, Mark met with Commander Holland, an old friend with scars across his face. I thought you were dead, Holland said. I wanted to be, Mark replied, but they found me. He handed Holland the chip with Raynar's illegal ops. They're playing both sides, Mark said. And now they're watching my daughter. Holland scanned the data. His face darkened. This is war-level treason. Why didn't you come to us sooner? Mark looked down. I didn't want to be that man again. Holland placed a hand on his shoulder. Well, now you are. And we need you, Mark nodded. I'll help. But I need protection for Lily, no matter what happens to me. You have my word, Holland said. Back at the tower, Varel stood in front of Raynar. He's gone, she reported. No call, no trace. Raynar's voice was cold. Then he knows, find him. And if he speaks a single word to Earth's council, eliminate him. In a dark bunker far below the Earth's surface, old war maps flickered on dusty screens. Human commanders, retired agents, and a few trusted alien defectors gathered around Mark as he pointed at the decoded data. The attack is real, Mark said, his voice steady, and it's coming in 4 days. He showed them the rebel fleet's route, through Saturn's icy rings. But then he pointed to a second path. This one, he said quietly, is Raynar's smuggling lane, hidden inside the rebel route. He's using the invasion to hide his own weapons transfers. The room fell silent. General Holland slammed his fist on the table. He's using Earth's fear to gain more power. If the rebels are stopped, He'll still win. He'll look like a hero, and no one will see the knife he's holding behind his back. Mark nodded. That's why I came to you. Commander Holland looked at the others. Then we need to act. Quietly. We stop the rebels, expose Ragnar, and protect the girl. Mark's eyes met his. My daughter comes first. Promise me that. You have my word, Holland said. Meanwhile, back at the tower, Ragnar stood in his cold office, eyes glowing with anger. He has vanished, said one of his security bots. He's not vanished, Ragnar growled. He's gone underground. Virel stood nearby, silent. She watched Ragnar closely. Something had changed. His calm mask was gone. Now she saw who he really was. She had once thought Ragnar was a firm, but fair leader. Now, he looked like a general from the old days, one who saw people as tools. Shall I put a price on his head? Asked the bot. No, Ragnar said. That would draw attention. We'll send someone quieter. His eyes narrowed. We'll send the Whisper. In a secure hideout beneath an abandoned metro station, Mark opened an old crate. Inside were his tools from the war, alien translator devices, cloaking patches, and an encrypted comlink. He picked up a small silver cube and activated it. The cube floated and began humming. Hello again, old friend, Mark whispered. He used the cube to mimic alien frequencies, sending out a false message to the rebel fleet. He wanted them to think Ragnar had betrayed them. In their language, he crafted a sentence so sharp, so poetic in tone, that only a rebel commander would understand it as a threat. The smoke rises before the fire, but your fire is being sold. A war message. A betrayal warning. He pressed send. Now. He waited. That night, Virel slipped away from the tower and entered the human sector. She wore a hood, her face hidden. She moved fast through alleys and abandoned shops. She reached the bunker's outer wall. 2 guards stopped her. I need to see Mark, she said. I think he's in danger. Inside, Mark watched the reply come in from the rebel fleet. The screen glowed red. We were betrayed, but not by you. The deal was false. The ash returns to the speaker. Mark turned to Holland. They took the bait. They think Ragnar tricked them. So now they'll hit him first? Holland asked. Mark nodded. But we still have to protect the city. Innocent lives will be in the crossfire. Just then the door burst open. Virel rushed in, breathless. You're being hunted, she said. Ragnar sent someone. They call him the Whisper. Mark's face changed. The Whisper isn't a name. It's a code. A shadow killer. Virel nodded. He's already in the city, and he's not after just you. He wants Lily. Mark didn't hesitate. Get Lily out now, he ordered. Move her to the deep sector with the veterans' children. Holland gave the signal. A squad moved fast to extract her, then Mark stood and looked at Virel. You still trust me? He asked. She paused, then nodded. I do now. Good, he said. Then help me end this, the right way. Back at the tower, Ragnar paced his office. Where is the Whisper? A screen lit up. It showed chaos, rebel ships firing near Ragnar's secret docks, his smugglers scattering, his plans falling apart. This can't be, he said. The rebels had turned on him, and the one man he underestimated, the janitor, was the one who did it. He screamed and slammed the console. Far below in the city shadows, the Whisper walked quietly through the streets, unseen, unheard. But Mark was already moving too, through tunnels and back doors with a plan of his own. A storm was coming. But Mark wasn't running anymore. He was preparing for war. Rain fell hard on the city, neon lights flickered above empty streets, and steam hissed from broken vents. Somewhere in the shadows, the assassin known only as the Whisper moved like smoke. Silent, deadly, unseen, he had one target, Mark Elian, and if necessary, Mark's daughter. But Mark wasn't running, not anymore. In an old weapons vault below the human resistance zone, Mark pulled on black combat gloves. He loaded a pulse pistol and strapped a short alien blade to his back. Across the room, Virel watched him. "You really were a soldier," she whispered. Mark shook his head. "No, I was a translator who had to learn how to survive." Virel handed him a chip. "This has the last security codes to Ranar's personal core. If we reach it, we can reveal everything. His smuggling, his betrayals, even his plans to sell Earth's defense data." Mark nodded. "We hit him tonight, before he buries the truth." Meanwhile, in the deep shelter under the metro ruins, young Lily lay wrapped in blankets beside other hidden children. She coughed weakly but smiled when a soldier gave her warm soup. "Where's my daddy?" she asked. "He's making sure the sky stays safe," the soldier replied with a grin. Midnight. Mark and Virel reached the city's central core, Ranar's data tower, but the building was on full lockdown. Armed drones hovered, laser fences shimmered. Mark whispered, "We go under." They slipped into a sewer grate. Filthy water rushed around them as they crawled through narrow tunnels. Rats scattered. Distant echoes rumbled above, the sound of ships, of tension. Suddenly, Mark stopped. His eyes narrowed. A soft breeze. Underground. He drew his blade. Virel frowned. "What is it?" He didn't speak. He turned off his light. They waited. A shadow moved behind them, then lunged forward. Mark spun, parrying a strike with his blade. Sparks flew. The attacker wore black armor with no insignia, no face, just two glowing slits for eyes. The whisper. He struck fast, inhuman fast. His moves were silent and deadly, trained in alien martial codes. Mark blocked a kick, rolled, then grabbed a pipe and swung it hard. It cracked against the whisper's side, but the assassin barely flinched. "You speak languages," the whisper said in a mechanical voice. "But tonight, you will speak none." Mark gritted his teeth. "Let's see if you understand pain." He fought with everything, moves from human war schools, alien defense forms, even janitor street smarts. He kicked dirt in the assassin's optics, used water to slip away, and hit pressure points known only to xenolinguists who studied alien anatomy. Virel used a shock pulse to overload a nearby light panel. The flash stunned the whisper for just 1 second. Enough. Mark slammed the alien blade into the assassin's side. The whisper stumbled, then fell into the tunnel water, disappearing in the dark flow. "Is he dead?" Virel gasped. Mark wiped blood from his lip. "No, but he won't follow us right away." They moved fast. They reached the core control room. Inside, walls glowed with alien code. Ranar's face appeared on a large screen. "You just don't know when to stay in your place," Ranar said coldly. Mark raised the chip. "Here's the truth. We'll show Earth everything." Ranar laughed. "You think Earth will trust a janitor?" Mark stepped forward. "They won't listen to a janitor. But they'll listen to a man who broke the rebels, who exposed you, and who risked everything for his daughter." He inserted the chip. Data flooded the screen, hidden weapons, fake trade deals, orders to attack human cities, messages to the rebel fleet. All signed by Ranar, alarms began to ring. Planetary security had received the signal. Ranar's smug smile cracked. "You'll regret this," he hissed. "You're nothing." Mark stared at the camera. "I'm a father," he said, "and I just cleaned up your mess." Outside, rebel ships and Earth defense fleets clashed in orbit. But now, with Ranar's betrayal revealed, some alien ships turned against him, even his own people. Virel looked at Mark. "It's over." Mark exhaled. "No, not until I see her." Hours later, in the shelter, Mark stepped through the door, muddy, bleeding, but alive. Lily saw him and smiled brightly. "Daddy!" He dropped to his knees and hugged her tight. She touched the cut on his face. "Did you fight bad aliens?" He nodded. "A few. Did you win?" Mark smiled. "We did." The Grand Galactic Council Hall was filled with light, noise, and tension. Hundreds of alien diplomats, human generals, reporters, and high officials sat in rows watching the main platform. This was Earth's most important day in decades. The traitor director Ranar had been caught. His secret crimes broadcast to every major world. His smugglers stopped. His illegal weapons exposed. The rebel fleet broken apart by their own confusion. But now, everyone waited to hear how it had happened. A quiet buzz filled the air. Then the doors opened, and a janitor walked in. Mark Elian, still wearing boots caked with dirt. His arm bandaged, his uniform torn, yet his face calm, his steps strong. Beside him walked Virel wearing her science robes. A few council members looked confused. A few alien generals laughed. "Is this a joke?" One ambassador whispered. "Where's the commander?" Another asked. Mark reached the center of the room. He looked up. Cameras blinked. Recorders floated above him. He spoke into the translator mic, but not in English. Instead, he spoke in 5 alien languages, back to back. Perfect grammar. Perfect tone. He even used the sacred diplomatic tongue of the oldest empire, a language banned after the war. The hall went silent. Some aliens dropped their glasses. One ambassador whispered, "That's impossible." Mark looked up again, switching to English now. "My name is Mark Elian," he said. "You've seen me mopping floors. Ignored me in your halls, passed me in elevators, but I watched. I listened, and when Renar planned to use your fear for his gain, I stood up." The human commander in the corner leaned forward. "I was once a translator, not a fighter, not a spy. But language, words, can stop wars before they start," Mark said, "or expose the liars hiding inside them." He pressed a small button. Holograms appeared above him, secret messages, proof of Renar's deals, rebel communications, and even conversations where Renar mocked Earth's leaders. A slow gasp filled the room. Mark looked toward the Earth seat. "My only goal was to protect my daughter. But in doing that, I protected this planet. And I did it without a single army." The head of the council, a glowing being named High Voice Vren, stood. "You used our sacred tongue," Vren said slowly. "How?" Mark answered calmly. "Because I listened. I studied. I respected it." Unlike Renar, Vren looked at the other leaders. "And what do we do with him?" A giant lizard warrior stood up. "He's a human, but he speaks like one of us. He thinks like one of us. I say, we listen." The room nodded. Then came the real moment. Virel stepped forward. "I once served Renar," she said. "But this man, this father, taught me honor." She handed the council a new treaty. "He helped me write this. A new peace agreement, one that protects Earth, ends the rebel alliance, and forbids shadow deals like Renar's." The head ambassador of Earth stood up and smiled. "For the first time," he said, "a janitor has done what armies failed to do." And the council rose to their feet. Aliens clapped. Humans cheered. Even old enemies gave nods of respect. Later, in the quiet garden outside the council tower, Mark sat on a bench. Lily ran up and hugged him tightly. "You did it," she whispered. He kissed her forehead. "We did it. You're not a janitor anymore, are you?" she asked. He chuckled. "Maybe not. But I still know how to clean up a mess." Virel joined them. Holding a small box, "The council sent this," she said. Inside was a golden badge, shaped like a star, with 5 alien scripts carved around its edges. At the center it read, "Speaker of Unity, Mark Elian." Mark stared at it, then smiled. He handed it to Lily. "Here," he said, "for you to keep." Far above Earth, in a quiet, dark corner of space, a few rebel ships floated, silent, broken, leaderless. But among them, one message played on repeat: the human speaks, the human sees, the human understands. And for the first time in history, the galaxy began to fear not Earth's weapons, but Earth's words.